Have you ever had that sickening realization that your parents aren't just strict, but are actually hiding a massive part of your identity just to keep control over you? My name is Maya, and for 22 years, I lived in a house where my mother, Sarah, treated my severe allergies like a full-time job. I was homeschooled, I wasn't allowed to eat at friends' houses, and I had to take a specific maintenance pill every single morning that supposedly kept my lungs from failing. My mom was a local hero, the devoted mother who sacrificed her career to nurse her sickly daughter. But last month, while she was at a weekend retreat, I found a medical file tucked inside an old cookbook in the pantry that proved my illness was the biggest lie of my life. I was looking for a recipe, but what I found was a folder containing my actual childhood medical records. There were no allergies, no lung issues, no chronic conditions. Instead, there were dozens of reports from doctors when I was 6 years old, all stating the same thing: patient is perfectly healthy, mother's concerns appear psychosomatic. But it got worse. I found the label for the maintenance pills she had been giving me for 15 years. They weren't medicine. They were high-dose sedatives and appetite suppressants designed to keep me lethargic, thin, and dependent on her. My mother hadn't been saving my life. She had been chemically handicapping me so I would never be strong enough to leave her. The betrayal hit me in waves of pure, cold fury. Every time I cried because I couldn't go to prom, every time I felt too tired to apply for college, and every time I thanked her for taking care of me, it was all part of her plan to keep me as her permanent project. I realized then that my father hadn't left because he couldn't handle a sick child like she told me. I found a stack of returned letters in the bottom of the file, all from him, dated over a decade. He had been trying to get visitation for years, but my mother had used my fragile health in court to convince a judge that seeing him would literally kill me. She had weaponized my own body against the only other person who loved me. I didn't confront her right away. I stopped taking the pills that day. Within 48 hours, the brain fog I'd lived with since middle school lifted. I felt a surge of energy I didn't know was possible. I used that clarity to pack a bag and call the number on one of my father's old letters. When he picked up, his voice shook so hard he could barely say my name. He told me he was still living in the same house, waiting for the day I'd be strong enough to find him. I realized then that while I was trapped in a bedroom, he was trapped in a life of waiting. My mother hadn't just stolen my health, she had stolen 20 years of a father-daughter relationship out of a twisted need to be needed. The satisfying ending? I didn't just run away. I waited until the morning she came back from her retreat. She walked in smiling and reached for the medicine cabinet to give me my dose. I caught her wrist, looked her dead in the eye, and swallowed the pill myself, only I didn't swallow it. I spat it back into her hand and showed her the medical files spread out on the table. The look of pure, pathetic terror on her face when she realized her sick little girl was gone was better than any revenge. I walked out the door with my father waiting in the driveway, and I haven't looked back since. Today, I'm finishing my first semester of college, and it turns out I'm not allergic to anything except the woman who raised me.